Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Realism Invictus. This is the Asharid Head, and I was just taking a look at everything briefly since the last segment was uploaded a little over a week ago, and it appears we have a pretty modest tech lead still. There are a couple of techs here and there that we don't have, tolls and taxes, which we're about to research, shipbuilding, which is not a super high priority for us anyway, and then some religious ones which weren't really in our interest to research. Relationally, there's only one war going between the Aztecs and the Koreans. Open borders is pretty generally signed across the board. I have it with everyone who will accept it, and it is fairly prevalent among the AI as well, so we might see a faster tech pace this game. And civic-wise, we're the first one, or rather, I think we are the first, yeah, because they don't have dynasticism. But we have monarchy. Everyone else is, with the exception of Ethiopia and the Inca, autocracy, which is kind of like a slightly more primitive form of monarchy. Traditional custom across the board. Um, Surprisingly, a lot of caste system. I don't tend to see this one so prevalent, but I guess it makes sense for the leaders we have here. And then a couple of pastoral nomads, but yeah, keeping an eye on this is useful, not least because this can be a pretty big source of diplomatic animosity or sympathy, among other things. As you can see here, it contributes these relations. Um, oh, excuse me, this is of course just the net total, but your civic choices will increasingly be a factor in relations with the AI. And we are just now entering that end of the early game phase where your empire sheds off the intense fragility it has at the beginning of the game with barbarians and early war declarations, and you have the developmental maturity to pursue a little bit more multifaceted and dynamic strategies. In our immediate case, that entails getting paved roads, which we are not far from. And really, I need to be hooking up this limestone. I should have done that already, because we have this one already, and this one is now in our borders. So that actually takes a higher priority than these farms, which we don't even have the population to be working anyway right now. Yeah, thank you to those of you who explained my previous questions, particularly about the unique unit upgrades, how in the main menupedia it doesn't show you the upgrade paths for some technical reason. But if you go in the unit upgrade chart, Walter said, apparently ooh, this is promotions, whoops. It is actually visible from the main Civilopedia menu here, apparently. So that is good to know, and I wish I had known that earlier, because that was honestly basically the only reason I hadn't already played the Greeks, is I thought, wow, this is such an iconic unit, and it is highly impressive for its time, but, you lose the experience that you invest in using them early on, and that's kind of unfun, honestly. And of course, as he explained, this is supposed to be, in relative terms, the best one. This is only modestly good, but it at least allows the previous unit a chance to upgrade and remain competitive with the time period. So, but anyway, all that to say, I have another question. I don't think the answer to this is yes, but is there a way, if any of you know, where you can eliminate the automation of citizens? This is particularly a problem under slavery. I noticed I was working this coastal tile instead of this, yeah, it's a village, almost a town. When you have slave revolts, since they're technically enemy units, when they occupy a tile, your population can't work that tile, and then they'll suicide onto the city. But then, unless you have an epidemic or you grow or something, there's no trigger for the AI governor to re-automate the labor allocation. So then that town or village goes unworked unless you manually recycle through. And under this civic, since the revolt risk is just a direct function of your number of cities, that can actually, unless you, every time you have a revolt, and actually every time you kill a revolt, manually reallocate all of your labor, that's a really big efficiency drain. So if there's a way to have the governor re-automate every time, I don't really even know how that would be implemented. Or if you could turn it off outright and get a notification of sorts. For that, I know the UI options, I suppose it wouldn't be here. Yeah, interface options. This is pretty extensive, and I haven't thoroughly perused everything, but you can even see this goes on here a little bit. If there's any way to do that, or some practical workaround that you know of, please let me know, because that kind of is annoying. I like the concept of the slave revolts, but the way that they're implemented is pretty tedious, and that mostly has to do with this specific problem. I don't really like having to go in and reallocate every time, but I suppose in lieu of some obscure options setting, there's really no other way around that. If you're playing well, at least, slavery does offer you a nice yield bonus that you don't get elsewhere. Speaking of that, let's go through everything and make sure we've got our selections like we want. For instance, this is inefficient. Let's work this mine. Because we're going for a wonder, I'm actually going to swap this too, and we have surplus money. That'll add a turn. And it's not going to add a turn. I'll leave the scientist. We're going for hanging gardens at the end of the last video, as I mentioned. Okay, we put this guy back on here. That got pillaged, I think. So that needs to be rebuilt. We are at our cap, happiness-wise, but we are still a little bit at a food deficit. Once we repair this pasture, it'll be fine, though. And it's probably about time to switch out of, in fact, let's see here. Whoops. Yeah, we are in subsistence economy, good. Yeah, for now, this is the best choice. 2 total. Yeah, Zap, I saw your comment that you didn't like the placement of this city, but I think you made that before knowing that the stone was here. And I made the decision to settle here before I knew the stone was there also, but I think it might not have been the best choice, but I wanted to claim this land. This is a defensible spot. We might see more strategic resources here. And with irrigation, actually I can't irrigate this, sadly. Yeah, that's too bad, because we've got a desert here and I can't put it over hills. So actually, yeah, if I had settled on this hill here, then I could have used this river tile that I settled on to irrigate this. I was going to say this is a lot of arable land, and it's too food poor for this to be cottaged and worked, sadly. But late game, or mid to late game onward, I can put windmills on most of these hills. So I think it's a decent spot, but I wanted to claim the land over here, and this is a defensible area. We got invaded from the northwest a couple times already, so having a city here is strategically useful, I think. Maybe it wasn't the best choice, but I don't exactly regret it either. Okay. I'm going to try to play a little bit faster. I noticed the last couple segments we didn't really proceed as far as I would have liked. I am actually going to send you to the stone right now. 6 turns, 12 turns. I'm actually going to reassign you there too. That's going to take a long time, unfortunately, to quarry and build a road. So actually, I'm going to triple that up. I think triple workers is inefficient because of the way that Civ 4 rounds down but it is still faster than 2. I know this is supposed to be a harp or something, but it sounds like a electric guitar or something. Like that muted. I really like the classical music in this game. Yeah, and we put our army here to quell the revolt risk. I don't think we need to leave it here. Let's see. Yeah, 19 turns isn't too bad. I'll have the other 2 build a road first, because they'll get the higher efficiency for being 2 on the task rather than 3. And then I'll, once that's done, dump the rest of their usefulness into the finishing the quarry. Yeah, courthouse probably isn't the best build here, but we're almost halfway done, so I'll stick with it. And tolls and taxes. Yeah, no like immediate benefit here, but I do wish I did mention this in a previous video. The market feels a little strange. Like, this is something that wouldn't be really represented by a building. People would just have a market. But I liked how the tech currency in the vanilla game just gave a trade route. I think that's kind of fair. I wish that's how it worked in RI, and also the plus 25 with this market. Like I said, because Civ 4 rounds down, I didn't mention that it rounds down, but it always does. The market by itself actually doesn't really do anything for your trade. You have to pair it with the toll house, which only gives you a net 40%, which still rounds down. So in the early game, when your trade route is even 2 commerce, like mine are here, having plus 40% just rounds down. Now with the caravan house, sure, but it's like you need to develop a lot of early expensive infrastructure to get even a modest trade boost. Later on, that's great because your trade routes end up being worth numbers that are a lot more granular than 1 or 2, but when the game just strictly rounds down, it's kind of... You don't really get any instant yield from this. You don't even get soon yield from this. But oh well, it is what it is. Commerce explodes later on in the game, so I wish that was represented a little bit more, with a little bit more instantaneity early on when you research that tech.
In this world, nothing can be said to be certain, except death and time.
Yeah, I mean, toll house, caravan house, market, and then finally it rounds up, but... Okay. You build a road, you build a road. And then 8 turns we'll get civil engineering, and then we can get paved roads with that, which will be really nice. I don't think anyone else has limestone. Oh. Wait, oh, this is my side of things. Yeah, I don't think anyone else does. How nice. This will be a good military advantage. And yeah, I might want to go conquer this copper. Actually, no. Oh, we did research ironworking. Yep, we are a little metal poor, which is too bad. For the sake of our really cool UUs, expanding south and taking Bactrian might be what we do next. Or we could skip that phase altogether and just develop vertically with these 3 cities. I'm not totally sure yet, but I did want to check this. We'll leave these archers here. Let's just pull this army out. And yeah, no, this city's fine. That was a temporary thing. The Chinese will probably attack us again, so I'll keep this army kind of generally between these 2 cities where it can respond to either with some reasonable level of alacrity. Beware exploring adjacent to barb cities because they will attack you and you will die. And usually, I wouldn't be surprised if this city has like 7 archers in it. So even if they don't win the first fight, they'll still aggressively attack you. Yeah, we have a good power ratio against everyone else, so in contrast to the barbarians, we're not likely to get imminently attacked, but it definitely can still happen. And if it's against a leader who is more prone to warfare, like Cao Cao, then I would expect it. Or rather, I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. You're always wise to expect war in this game. But I'm kind of excited to see what's going on over here with all this geopolitical shifting. This city's changed hands twice, I think. Okay, that's nice. That wasn't a irrigated tile anyway. You hadn't played this game at all since the last upload until very briefly last night. I just kind of opened one of my single player games and played a few turns and then put it away, but I really kind of got the hankering to play this again. Excuse me, it stays with you. Like, this is a game I will probably at least occasionally play for like decades. It's not perfect, but it is so good. Okay, Aztecs, we run into their border all the way down here, and we don't have open borders with him, so that's gonna short stop our little exploration project. How about you give me your money, though? Yeah, it's a little inefficient getting out of here. I'm still gonna move here so I can see what these are, but then it'll take a few turns to get out of that jungle. Okay, so we got the road. Now let's get the quarry finished. And it will be most efficient to just triple up and build the road through this hill than to go north. I'll build a road here eventually, but just to get it hooked up relatively close to researching this tech, I'll do it that way. And we might actually have hanging gardens in the bag. It's only 5 turns away. Oh, right, actually, we need to build the stone cutter too before we can actually build the paved roads. It's not just a tech and resource requirement. But it's going to be really nice having a little early game highway system. Well, not literally highway. I think it used to exist, but this was one thing I suggested. For some reason, Germany was the only civ that ended up getting a highway system. Like, the highway was simply not available to any other civ, which is kind of strange. It was the electric railroad previously. And while I know highways like this are not something every country has, even every modern country, a good infrastructural highway system, like the U.S. obviously does. So I asked, why is Germany the only one? And thankfully Walter went ahead and made highways universally available, and then German highways just better, which that's kind of cool. I even like the fact that the icon is slightly different but stylistically consistent. This nice little winding road, and this one a little more straight and serious with. We'll pretend that's Cologne right here or something. I don't know. Just getting lost in my imagination. Okay. Yeah, the Hanging Gardens, though, I really liked its effect in the base game. But this is really nice, too. Health is a pretty big bottleneck mid-game on, so +2 on something that doesn't expire until pretty much exactly concurrently with the medical projects that, once you build them, pretty much mitigate health as a concern altogether. Once people figured out how to wash their hands and get vaccinated and things, diseases, well, I won't say they're an afterthought, but nothing like they used to be. But I really like this food bonus, health bonus. The city that builds it uh, gets a huge health bonus. So yeah, good thing we had that limestone. We didn't get masonry materials yet, but unless you start with 2, like in your capitals BFC or something, you're probably not going to get masonry materials by the time this gets built. But yep, let's not count our eggs till they hatch. Let's see if we actually end up getting it. Wait, did he double up on a war? Montezuma dowed the Swedes, and he was already at war with... I must have missed the peace notification because he was at war with Korea. Yeah, this guy is insane. You know, one leader I've never encountered that I kind of want to see in a game is Hitler. You know, that is one advantage of a mod, is you can include Hitler in the game, and you can't commercially sell it in Germany if it's the official game can't do that. But stuff like that, I would want to see the kind of erratic behavior that historical Hitler did in the game. That would make for a lot of role-playing fun. All the more so if you had Stalin in the same game, or Mussolini, or De Gaulle, or whatever, or Churchill. Like if you had the whole mid 20th century cast, that would be cool. Speaking of mid 20th century, I have seen Konrad Adenauer many times, and I don't know if I mentioned this in my other Let's Play or not, but that dude is like the most bloodthirsty warmonger ever. I need to go into his like AI behavior XML sheet, because I think he might be miscoded. He is very unlikely to declare wars, but this guy, every single game I encounter him, I don't even do anything to seriously upset him or anything, and he relentlessly attacks me over and over. So I think this might be like the Gandhi effect or something, where the nuke build was at 0, but because of the way that the difficulty level functioned, it errored out and defaulted to the highest level. Because this guy, like, as soon as the treaty's over, he's attacking me again, when I didn't even do anything to make him upset. So maybe he's Hitler in disguise, I don't know. Let me just change that back to current game. Yeah, like I said about the units, though, there are hundreds of historical characters in this game, which is really cool. I know, unfortunately, the diplomacy is a little thin, like, hey, will you attack this guy with me? Aw, I thought we were best friends, that kind of thing is a little silly. And there's not really many other meaningful interactions you have besides, hey, convert to this religion. Hey, you want to trade these resources? That's basically it, besides declaring war. But the fact that all of these historical characters so numerously are represented is really cool. I like that quite a bit. And I learned quite a few that I didn't know about at all, and my degree is in history, and I'm kind of an amateur enthusiast, so the game helped me learn more. I wouldn't have known about a lot of these people but for a unintentional exposure elsewhere, if it weren't for this game. So, and in a way, they're not just like static historical figures. They're, fictionally hypothesized into this little fantasy historical world you enter into every time you play this game, which is fun. Woohoo! Thermopylae made it to size 2. And it's still kind of growing. I really should have farmed this tile. That was dumb. but the sunk cost is too high now for me to flip that, I think. Especially early in the game where alternative sources of commerce are few and far between. But yeah, I've got a surplus of 2, so we'll stagnate out on the next growth, which probably will be this gold mine. And no, actually I'll farm this and then we'll work this tile too. But yeah, it's not going to be a populous city. Yeah, though the Hanging Gardens in the base game boosted everyone's population by 1, every one of your cities, which that's cool. Okay, most powerful, and we are the Fine. So yeah, we don't have the intel. Wait, what? Oh yeah, 0.9 of his, yeah, so he's slightly above us, and the Aztecs are too, but we don't have intel on them, so we are not, like, complacently stronger than everyone, but we are just competitive militarily. And that's gonna slide and slide unless I keep building units steadily, or upgrading my existing ones. Okay, so the road and the quarry's done. And then once we have the stone connected, we can build a stone cutter, which I'll probably do in my capital. And yeah, looks like Hanging Gardens are ours. I always like to watch these videos. It's fun to imagine what that would have really looked like. Okay, cool. Yeah, just so you can see here, 1 worker building the road's 10. Then it's 5, so that's double efficiency. And then, because of the way the game rounds, I think the 3rd worker will make that 3. But actually ending the turn will fix that problem mathematically. Probably a slave market. Yeah, definitely, because we have these farms built. No, it is 3 still. Okay. So it is faster, it's just marginally not really that much faster. I'll probably move southeast with him. I don't know. These Aztecs are here too. I don't know if the Goose barbarians will attack us. Really don't know. I should have seen how many, you know what? This is going to be kind of expensive because we're going to have to pay support on these. But I actually want to see about taking this city. I want the copper. Yeah, we'll do it. This guy's probably going to die, though. Nope. Oh, wait. I spoke too soon. Yeah, and if we win this fight, they'll fight again until I die. The way these combat animations work, though, you can usually tell who's going to win or lose. Yeah, he's going to kill me. Usually it's like one archer, like, just firing, like, 20 degrees away from you. It's like, okay, well, he's not going to hit. The game kind of clues who's winning and losing before it happens. Okay, now let's get this stuff finished. Limestone is hooked up. Local autonomy's there, and then we can start eating fish. They've just been fishing it and throwing it away. Or no, these fishing boats have just been sitting in the water with no one manning them. But don't worry, they were buoyed in place. Actually, let's go ahead and build a slave market and then the stone cutter. These workers have a little bit to do first anyway. Let's do this team of 2 though, actually. Keep them together, and we'll build the road starting here. Yeah. I'm gonna min-max my research for a second. I do like how exploration's harder in this game, though. I'm not going to attack the Scandinavians. You can't necessarily just scout with one unit. Um, and like I'd mentioned in the first video, the different animal types are, they don't make one unit necessarily better for all purposes. One terrain type's not necessarily always the safest, etc. Okay, is there anything we can do real quick that will only take 7 turns? There's olive grove here. There's no road here to begin with. No, I don't like that. I don't like these these worker micromanagement things are kind of annoying, but I might actually just skip turns with them for 7 turns, which that is a little wasteful, but the alternative is to throw them somewhere else. If you build a path or a road or something... Oh, Chinese spy, okay. If you build a more primitive route on a tile, it doesn't accelerate the construction speed of the more advanced one later, so I don't really have an incentive to do that. Maybe I should just put it on this olive grove, but that's going to take longer than 7, and yada yada. If it's a little inefficient, that's fine. I'll just sleep the workers till the stonecutter is done. Okay, Corinth, what will you build next? I'm actually going to build a warehouse. And then workboat, because that doesn't have anything yet. It's not ideal, but yeah, I'm just going to sleep them here. There's a way to set a reminder, but I forget how to do that, actually. Okay, so only 4 archers. They've got some workers hiding here, but we're going to have to attack from the southeast because this river is a 25% penalty, and they also have a palisade, which the city's going to be sort of hard to take. We'll need to take some losses going for it. I'll probably do it anyway, though, and then just reinforce. Well, actually, the palisade doesn't really matter because we have siege, so we can whittle that down to nothing, which we will begin doing now. Whittle was a bit of an underwhelming word. More like knock it over. It's just a pile of logs. Yeah, I want the copper so I can build my hamooi, or however you say this. Plus, this is kind of nice unclaimed land. I guess I could settle for this iron, but this Barb City will turn into an AI Civ eventually, and even if we put the Iron City here, so that it would have... oh no, that's not even right. Yeah, there's no way to connect these two. So yeah, this would be too food poor and generally terrible to settle on its own. But this is a nice spot. It's nice. Once this jungle's cleared, this is going to be great land, actually. Nice variegated bananas, corn, pig, and then copper, and it's coastal and riverside, so this is a nice city. Long term, it's worth having anyway. Okay. I like how fire happens when the battering rams hit the... Well, I guess, yeah, friction. Battering rams hit the wooden palisade, and there's fire that just flies into these defending archers' faces. Okay. And this is just cheap warband. Um, and a militia. Yeah, let me just attack with the warband first. Yay, lucky hit. He died. Another pretty lucky hit. I do think it's cool, the slavery, how you have a 20% chance to capture a slave, which is totally a historical reality. Okay, so we're getting pretty lucky, but that actually wasn't particularly difficult at all. Alright. Bactra is funny. The historical Greek Bactra was, you know, the Central Asian desert. And here it is, this tropical coastland. Cool, and that gave us a pretty nice amount of money. I'm going to switch this over here, probably back to 100. And you slaves get to work hooking this copper up. Clear the jungle first. And yeah, this militia I can use as a garrison. It doesn't have a lot of military utility otherwise. And now that we have paved roads, this desert, which each desert has 2 movement cost, is pretty arduous to get through, but with paved roads, the strategic viability of defending this city is a lot higher. Let me take a look real quick and make sure no one is angry at me. Gustav II, cautious. Gojong. Okay, so a lot of people are cautious. We need to make sure we're well defended. Not only our overall military strength, but our individual city garrisons, because the AI will sniff that out. If I only put one defender here, even if my overall power ratio is competitive, it's smart enough to know that they can just snipe this one city off of me. So I do not intend to do that. I'll probably make this segment a little longer because I really do want to play, but the last time I said I was going to play 2 segments, and I did. I uploaded the first one first, but for whatever reason, the second one actually finished uploading first, so they were released out of order, which kind of irritated me. I can probably get away with hour-and-a-half video, but these uncompressed video files are enormous, like close to 200 gigs, so I can't really play longer than that in one segment, but I'll push the limit a little bit this time. Okay, Stonecutter in 3. I'm going to start skipping turns so I don't forget about these guys. But yeah, that was like a walk in the park, taking this city. It's kind of nice. I was expecting to lose all of my militia, or my warband. Just heal in place for now. Okay, oh yeah, you have to be in cultural borders. Yeah, you do, I forgot. In that case, we already have slash and burn farms here. I'm not going to get rid of those instantly. Yeah, it's not exactly food port, but we're going to need a border pot before I can chop this jungle here. Yeah, and I knew that. I don't know how that escaped my mind for a second, but it did. 2 turns. I'm going to send you to this, and then we'll just have you build a paved road on the stone to start the route. Give you garrison. Send you guys down here. We're past the phase of the game where that needs to be meticulously defended, and I think actually this was the beginning of an army I was building, but between uploads I forgot about that, I think.
Water sustains.
Okay, farm spread irrigation now, yay. Oh no, I had that backwards. You can build them without it. But yeah, I actually do want that. It's a pleasing sound effect. I got the when I got my microphone, it's on a headset and the sound quality is pretty good, so that must have been a high quality audio file. Yeah, this is kind of a short-lived wonder. I wish it was obsoleted later. I would value it a little more highly otherwise. But I think enough wonders for now. We already have two. Once we get the copper hooked up, I'll build my UUs and stuff. But until then, I don't think we need strictly to build military units immediately. I hope we didn't already lose population here. Let me go ahead and do this, and let's just from the ground up. I like to do it this way. Okay, 2, we can grow 2 more, so a surplus of 6 is nice. It's good profitability. Yeah, that works for now. That will do it for now on that. And let's build another spy and send him down to Bactra. Yeah, this is getting repaired. This looks good otherwise. Really, I need a slave market here. Let's do this. Queue it next so that there's a little more food. In fact, this is a regular farm. That needs to be a slave farm. But yay, 675 BC, that's quite early. We can start building paved roads. One cool thing, though, is you can see here the animation. I think it's not just cosmetic, but cities count as the whatever your era is route. I don't know if that's something hard and fast that the modders originally couldn't get around, but you don't, when you're connecting cities with a route, like I'll go through Corinth down to Thermopylae, of course you can't build a road in the city anyway, but this doesn't slow down any would-be armies. It's considered a paved road for the purposes of movement costs already, which is nice. I wonder, I always thought this was Bactria, not Bactra. Maybe this city was Bactra and Bactria was the Hellenistic region. Yeah, slaves work slower than regular workers. That's also kind of cool. I like this Conan the Barbarian paint they have. I think that's supposed to be like soot or something maybe, but it makes me think of that movie, which, as cheesy as it is, I find very endearing. When they raid that kitchen and they put on that camouflage paint. It always reminded me of that. And generally the mid-2000s kind of low texture animation for the workers and warriors, they're pretty well built, so they look like Conan otherwise. Okay, that's done. Food surplus again. Now let's continue the farm. This one was closer, but whoops, we're already over here in terms of invested worker time. And that actually doesn't go away with time. If you, so 11 turns here, if we have to reassign this worker with 2 turns left on this slave farm, we come back 100 turns later, still 2 turns left. Which ironically is in contrast to builds in cities. Like if you queue a build, say we switch from this courthouse and do the slave market first, I think it's like 1 hammer a turn, but the invested production actually does atrophy. Not so with workers and improvements, though. Huh. Yeah, no, I demanded 80 from you. You know what? No. You're not going to ask nicely anyway, so there's no sense trying to placate you. Okay, what is the cheapest way to get culture? Probably a pagan temple. Yeah, provisional government. I really like this. It reminds me of cores in EU3. The binary you can hold on to this city for a while, but then it goes away. It's like the inverse of cores in EU3, honestly. Oh right, the pagan temple got obsoleted by... No, actually it shouldn't be obsolete yet. Oh right, because they're all name specific, whatever it's called for Greece. Yeah, the Temenos. Yeah, it's not obsolete till theology. And the Temenos is... That, I think, is the... It's almost like the palace icon. 100 hammers, so the theater is actually cheaper and it produces the same culture because we built Stonehenge, I believe. Yes. But the theater is still more efficient. I want to get this border pop and I want to put pressure on the Aztecs as soon as possible. So the Persians attacked the Koreans. We'll see what happens there. I need to actually get more diligent about exploring around here. It's not super high priority, but it should happen eventually. Let's get rid of that. Actually, you know what? Maybe eventually, if we conquer this land, it is... You can legally settle here. It's not too close to any of the others, so it might end up working, but as of yet, it's in their borders, so we can't settle there. Okay, workboat. Okay, let me think of the priority of this city and what it actually needs to be doing. This is a decent city, actually. It's not doing too poorly. Happiness isn't really a concern, neither is health. But it has a ridiculously high... Yeah, from trade routes. I was going to say, this has to be from trade routes. I'm going to go ahead and build an aqueduct. They're kind of expensive investments, but they are mandatory once your city reaches a certain size, so... Montezuma is going to attack me at some point, so I'll actually leave this army down here, and I'll build my new one to defend my northwest frontier. Yeah, with Jungle Hill, the 75 bonus is going to be pretty formidable with a decent stack like this. I like how these shields have cow hides and stuff. The Hollywood ancient world image is that everything was, you know, plate, iron, and whatever, and obviously that didn't even exist in this era at all, but, you know, the Hollywood image of Roman scuta, their shields, that they're metal and red, but actually they were wooden and leather colored for the most part. And that was high classical antiquity. This is technically still, in calendar terms, this is actually like the early classical era. I think really the beaker balancing of this era, it's a little too fast. It seems like I entered the medieval era pretty early most of the time. If I'm deliberately slowing down or, you know, backfilling other texts I don't really need, sometimes it lasts till 380, but a lot of the time I find myself entering the Middle Ages in like the 100s or the 0 to 100, which that feels artificially early. Oh well. Incan Spy. Ooh, a great engineer. Alright. I guess the Greeks didn't have any of these because I don't recall getting one already, and this is the template for when you don't have great people. What about, oh, what was his name? Oh, this is embarrassing. This is the second time this has happened to me today. But the sculptor of the statue of Athena, who inscribed his name on her statue and was ostracized from the city for that reason. He's a great engineer, but oh well. I guess we're well past the days of making casual suggestions for this mod. I'm just glad that I was a part of it for so long, even if very late to the party. I'm gonna bank him. This is basically a free wonder later on, and I don't really want to build any of the wonders currently. Obviously, I'm not going to hold a great engineer this long, but late in the game, if you want to get a nuclear program, you do need a great scientist or a great engineer, so engineers are hard to get, actually. In fact, that was pretty lucky because most of our great people points were from scientists and priests from Elements and Stonehenge. Hanging Gardens provided the great engineer points, and we only recently built that, so it hadn't really accrued. And we're running a scientist too, I think. Yeah, I need to pay closer attention to which wars I should be involved in. I'm gonna plead the fifth again for now, but I'm not gonna keep doing that because that's a lazy way to play diplomacy. You do need to pick your friends and enemies. But I'm really not in a position to wage a protracted war right now.
For everything there is a season and a time for every purpose.
And we founded Solar Cult. How did we found Solar Cult? I neglected all the religious texts. And I guess calendar isn't strictly a religious text. This image is funny. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. This is probably the language. Um, yeah, Tehuatl, I think, is the Aztec language. But their sun god, this is the emblem of him. You've got like this medieval looking wax candle and these old codices, and then like this modern pencil. Oh well, it's funny. I'm easily amused if you can't tell as a viewer of my videos, but that just makes life more fun. I don't apologize for that. Weirdly enough, the number of civs that don't have religions is greater than the number of civs that do, so I could actually adopt this and try to spread it. And Solar Cult, we already built pagan temples everywhere except for Bactra, so we don't lose the you can't build a pagan temple here, which we boosted with Stonehenge, and we're running paganism. I don't really care about the Inca. The Swedes, not really. They are actually the closest to me in score, though. And China's really lagging behind. They're running Zoroastrianism. I might actually do this. Normally I do not found religions, but that's usually because there's some zealot leader who's leading the pack, or there's like clearly a dominant religion and I'm going to ruin my relations with everyone by adopting a different one. But the city maintenance effects of Solar Cult is really nice, and honestly I think it's kind of a cool religion as a flavor aspect of the game, because unlike the others, this is the only religion in the game that is geographically differentiated. Like, you know, the Egyptian Solar Cult is Aten Ra, instituted by Akhenaten at the end of the New Kingdom. But the, you know, like we were just talking about, the Aztec Solar Cult was their official, you know, Aztec Mesoamerican. Pagan comes from a Christian perspective, I know, but it's the only English word that really comes to mind. It was their official pagan religion. Rome, the cult of Sol Invictus, which is probably what it's going to be for Greece too. But I think that's cool because all of these civilizations did worship the sun, but without having contact with each other, it took different forms and different guises, and the mod represents that in a fun and flavorful way, whereas something like Hinduism, is strictly subcontinental Indian, really. Obviously, a formalized paganism like Hinduism is represented by many other religions. The classical Greco-Roman pantheon could kind of be Hinduism, sort of, maybe. And you could do the same thing with Solar Cult, but that would be kind of weird because that's still like their paganism, which is softly a religion in the game already, because you need to be running paganism to build pagan temples, which is almost like having that as an official religion. And then also, everyone's pagan temples are already different anyway, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You could kind of stretch it to do that. But then when you get to monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, there's no historically plausible way to make that meaningfully different among different civilizations. But Solar Cult, it's kind of like in a gray area between the unofficial soft state religion you have with running paganism and building your civ's pagan temples, and then a formal great religion. So I think that's kind of cool. You know what? Well, let's just go ahead and do it. See what happens. Pontifex, yeah, this is totally going to be Sol Invictus. Okay. Yeah, do I want to spread this to someone else or to one of my own cities? That's the question. And I think someone else is the answer. I wonder what... Wait, what city got conquered? Barbarian... Oh yeah, that barbarian city. See, yeah, I'm glad we claimed this spot while we could, because the Aztecs were coming for it. We are going to get attacked by someone soon, and I want to take advantage of our era-specific, really strong unit. Especially we have barracks and everything. Gets promotions out of the gate, and... yeah. The only zealot leader on here, I think, is Haile Selassie. Tupac might be. That's what I was going to check before I heard that notification. Current game. Hates leaders following a different state religion, so I'm probably not going to be able to convert him. I thought about doing that. I think he's kind of a zealot. I know the Ethiopian is... dislikes, but not hates, so actually he's less than the Inca. So we've made a long-term enemy of the Inca. Probably we'll probably want to put an army around here. I don't think Cao cares about religion. Really, anyone who cares about religion probably will be following one or have founded one already. Yeah, does not care. So I'm not going to try to spread to him. That doesn't really leave anyone, actually, in my immediate vicinity. Let's just spread it to my capital. Well, I don't know. I could, like, attack the Inca and force them to convert. But I'll do that later when I can build my own Pontifex. Pontifectes, I think, would be the Latin plural there, but yeah, you know what I mean. Oh, this one's awesome. I forgot about this thing. And we have masonry materials. No one else does. Building a wonder on a knee-jerk reaction is looks pretty noobish, but this is a really good wonder. I'm going to have to think about that. 22 turns, plus 5 science, plus 2 to scientist. And 22 if we scrap the scientist for now. Yeah, I think we have to go for this. Athens is one of the... Yeah, this is number 3 city, so... I always thought that ranking thing was kind of cool. Yeah, it still uses the Hindu sound effect, but what can you do? Good thing you didn't use the Elagabalus sound effect, Walter. That would have been far more unpleasant. I just can't believe you would want jungle. This is horrible. 30% epidemic chance. Slash and burn farms do not compensate for that. Surplus growth you get gets cut down when you're size 4 or above. The odds of this happening are literally almost a coin toss every turn. Minus 25% commerce and production is bad. I don't know. You're more knowledgeable than me, but I don't see why you would prefer this. Chop ASAP is my jungle policy. And we are at an hour now, but yeah, I'm going to keep playing for a little bit. I'm a little late on uploading anyway, so I'll compensate by making this one a bit longer. Plus, we're kind of getting some stuff done. We got our paved roads up, we conquered another city, we founded a religion, so it's taking a little bit more shape. Okay, and then let's build a farm here. Yeah, 5 turns. That one would have been a lot faster, so whoops. But we had already moved west, so I didn't think it worthwhile to reroute him. God, this game is so fun. Yeah, we are undefended here, so we need to get this copper hook. I made that same spoonerism earlier. Copper hooked up quickly. Alright, Athens. It's kind of funny, we're building the Korean... Yeah, speak of the devil. We're building the Korean wonder with Korea in the game. Do I particularly care about Persia? Or you? I have higher relations with you. Persia's not following a different religion, neither are you. He's progressive, likely to get higher in tech, which means maintaining open borders with him at least. It's kind of a higher priority. Currently, though, you both are the same in tech, it looks like. No, I'm not going to get rid of that. Although, basically, I just refuse to give him tech if I canceled open borders. I don't think I have any trade routes with him anyway. I'm just subsidizing his research, so I actually should have accepted that, but oh well. This is one thing about Civ 4. I wish, and I mentioned this before, but Civ 5 had this better, you know. Will you help us attack? Give us 10 turns to prepare, or something like that, you know. Even if you actually are planning to fight someone, an instant declaration of war, like a binary choice, when you're solicited to instantly declare war on someone is not practical, but oh well. I'll fight him eventually, but not right now, you know. And there's no way to say that in the game. Why are our generals coveting a source of iron way the hell over here when there's one right there? I don't know. We'll have to ask our generals. The strategoi, the Greek General Council. Okay, slave farm's done. it's going to take a long time before we get a border pop. Yeah, building stuff in deserts takes a long time, which makes defensive wars where your stuff in deserts gets plundered or pillaged annoying. Yeah, there's also a chance that the slaves will die when they complete. I think it's also 20% when they complete an improvement. Or on realistic game speed, you can convert them to 30 hammers a pop on a building, not a unit. But yeah, there's a chance they'll just straight up die after you complete a more slowly built improvement with them. Ah, I see what you're doing here, Tupac. I'm not going to convert to Zoroastrianism. We worship the sun now. Who I suppose isn't too greatly different from Ahura Mazda, who you worship. Okay, so the Persians... Actually, I could see their borders already, but they have a nice little coastal city. This is... Wow. This is like a really extensive bay. I really like Totestra. This looks like a geographically plausible shape. You can't see too well with these resource counters on, but... So this is going to make for an interesting naval game later on, because my capital is one of the world's best cities, but these are mature, well, mostly mature, nice cities. I mean, I don't know why they decided to settle away from fresh water, but I guess because they didn't want to settle on the horses, but I would have done that for the riverside bonus. Regardless, though, 3 powerful countries sharing the same bay, that'll be kind of fun later in the game, I think. And are we going to get the Korean observatory? I think we probably will. And the Ethiopians are now score lead by a relatively decent margin.
It is thus with farming. If you do one thing late, you will be late in all your work.
Yeah, sadly, I don't think this applies to the slave farm. But, yeah, this is the classic. You have to make 40 decisions when you wanted to check something. But, I'll go back and reorder things. Yeah, nope, we don't get that from slave farms. This doesn't look like the kind of structure that is inhabited by a policy which particularly, well, was built under a policy which particularly cares about irrigation systems. But I think I mentioned it before, but this is a very cool graphical change in the mod. When you build an aqueduct, instead of it just being a building in the city, it actually ties it to the nearest mountain and graphically animates it to the city, which that's so cool. As aesthetically pleasing. In fact, this is really like to the scale of a wonder in real terms, building something that stretched this far. I don't know that that's got a precedent in real history, but I still wanted to stop and comment on that. Okay, we don't want to build a spy right now. I do want to build a temple, though. I didn't want to research shipbuilding. The naval competition will come later. This isn't efficient from a gameplay standpoint, but I hate the clutter in the tech tree, or the relative tech screen. I don't have these texts. I didn't want to found these religions or build this wonder, but it shows them as text that the AI has, and it's just annoying clutter, so I'm going to research them real quick. That's not optimal, but I'm not really intending to play this at an optimal efficiency. Sure, I want to aim not to make dumb decisions, but suboptimal is not really a problem for me. Alright, I think we got it. Sweet, we did. And we get a cool little video too. Wow, with this clay honeypot shaped thing, we have a Hubble Space Telescope image. That's just the power of medieval astronomy. We don't even know. Okay. Unfortunately, this is not in all cities. That would be insanely overpowered if it was, but +2 to scientist is really nice. +2 to great scientist is nice, and +5 overall is nice. Culture bonus is nice because we have some pressure in this bay. And we're about at our happy cap. A temple is a good next build. So this guy's putting out 5 by himself. Pretty nice. We're not even at 180 and we're almost at 100 research, which is kind of crazy actually. Well, we're not almost at 100, but I mean approximately. By the time we get to 180, I could see us being at that level, which would be pretty competitive for that phase in the game, generally speaking. Oh, AI. This is a better option. Alright, the Aztecs attacked, and they're actually going to just go ahead and directly attack me on the fortified jungle forested hill. It didn't look like they brought a huge stack, and we captured their first division, as it were, as a slave. Oh, with chariots, really? Well, he's going to give me culture in the spot from influence-driven war. Once my border pops, that'll have some stability. In fact, I wonder if that actually is contingent on the border. Oh, he's suiciding his battering ram? I wonder if I need to already have that in my tile first. I'm not sure. Alright, well, that was an excellent first move, sir. Prepare to meet your doom. Yeah, your entire stack was just annihilated. You didn't even have the gumption to retreat once there was 0 chance you could win that. Ah, Seleucus Nicator. Brings me back to being like 17 and studying this stuff pretty thoroughly. Alright. Suddenly he just was born in the capital on the the day after this great battle instead of being there, but I'll actually attach him to one of my Hamoy once I build them. But yeah, that was typical. In fact, let me just make totally sure I've got the right guy in mind. Yes, this is Montezuma, so it's just the unanglicized spelling. That is typical Montezuma behavior. He will attack senselessly. And because we've got this infrastructure program underway, these slaves will be excellent, an excellent part of the program. I'm not even going to counterattack, I'm just going to bank here. I really just need to defend this city. For a while it'll be a liability more than an asset anyway. But yeah, getting this paved road built through here. 10 turns. They're slaves. I think the rounding works out nicely enough. You guys know how to put stones into the groove between a wooden sword blade thing, so put stones into the grooves onto an earthen path. Captured Aztecs. Yeah, alright. And now, this screen looks a little more clean. This doesn't look cluttered, it looks like this is the actual technology we don't have, instead of this was the religions we didn't want to found. Now, knowing that this is the Aztecs, they probably have like double movement through jungle. The Atlatl, let's see. You always want to check this. Sometimes they have like no terrain movement cost or double movement in jungle on their own, and yeah, knowing him, he'll probably just suicide on me, or really he'll probably move into this jungle. I'll just let him do that. I don't really care. Yep, that's exactly what he did. He's not on a hill now, so he'll still be easier to take out with a pot shot. Alright, we won on 25% odds and won another slave. Cool. Yeah, give me a lot of experience. The lower your odds, the greater your experience on victory.
In the beginning, there were two primal spirits, twins spontaneously active. These are the good and the evil, in thought and in word and in deed.
Just get the stuff that we get a bonus on now. Okay, that part's done. And pretty compact city there. Town, I suppose. It would be kind of cool if cosmetically the town had some like fields around it, because in real life, of course, even more concentrated urban areas still have farm yield around them. But I can see how that would make it not very graphically distinct from actual farms, so oh well. But yeah, I thought of that earlier today, or maybe yesterday. And now, yeah, we have plenty of food, so let's get our happy cap up. Health cap's good. This is going to be a nice, thriving capital. Okay, you're healed up. You're all healed up. Thanks for giving me that XP, Montezuma. He didn't even pillage my clams. I guess the pirates didn't see him yet. Yeah, they're heading there now. Ironically, we just got shipbuilding. I don't have markets yet, so that resource is only really worth the hammers I invested in the workboat. But okay, once this road's done, we'll have the route started here. You join up with them. Building through this desert's gonna take a long time. Oh no, only 3 more turns on that. Cool. That might not have been a good move. You don't have enough food yet. No fishing boats I can even really use here. Wasn't planning on working water tiles. This will be useful in the Renaissance with shipyards when water tiles are food sustenance. In lieu of that, let's just go ahead and build these, this, and this. Because we still have positive epidemic chance, and the long-term yield from these will pay off eventually. Let's get started on this one first. Okay. Oh, right, it's not in my borders, so never mind. Wait, what? So how is this slave able to build a paved road, but this one can't? Because it's next to another paved road, which gives it access to masonry materials? Probably. That's probably it. I'll go ahead and pair them up anyway. And yeah, let's really speed this up. 6 turns. And yep, that is exactly why, because now we can hear, so that was ironic.
Some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested.
No, don't do a priest. We already have enough great people pollution, that's not really worth it at all. So let's slave farm it up. Lighthouse. Actually should have built a navy from Corinth, but we'll do that next. The other buildings are worth building anyway. It's weird because this aqueduct actually looks like a paved road when you're zoomed out like this, but except for this just completed one, we actually don't have any over here. Okay, paved road, paved road. Up. He came out of nowhere with that. Wow, okay. Did I miss that stack come in the turn before, or did they all have Woodsman 2 and could move twice? They did not all have Woodsman 2. Okay, well. There's some pretty low victory odds. He's going to camp on this hill if I move away from it. But his alternative is to move onto here where he'll be easily killed. I'm going to move into the city. I probably should have left one unit there, but whatever. See what he does. He might just attack the city. Yep, he's attacking the city. Alright, first kill. And now he's going to camp on the hill. Right as a plague sets in. How Greek. I don't care about any of these tiles. He can pillage my slash and burn farms. I really don't care. Yeah, one extra food, sure. Okay. And a slip revolts. And you demand fish. I don't need more than one, so whatever.
Never believe anything in politics until
Republic might not be a
positively
bad choice because we only have 4 cities. I don't think it's going to be better than monarchy, though, actually. Especially paired with traditional customs, so I'm going to stay in monarchy. Yeah, you can see that worker inefficiency. They're done here. The other one has active move points. Well, no, that's only a pair of 2. That shouldn't work. Well, it's a paved road, so actually the build time might factor out that way. Yeah, let's build the Odyssey here. Maybe he'll accept peace. Yeah, he'll give me money. What an idiot. Okay. I hope you don't pillage anything. You're supposed to just attack cities. Yes, okay, so hopefully you just attack Athens and die. Cue neck slitting sound effect. Yep, alright. Okay, because his bloodlust cannot be sated, he just went ahead and attacked Scandinavia. And we finally got a border pop here. Nice. Okay. Which means we can get this copper installed. Which we'll start on promptly. None of these slaves have died, strangely. Yeah, I guess my prediction was a little premature. We're almost at 100 beakers per turn in the 5th century BC, so pretty nice. Yeah, 75 turns. Wow, that's crazy. That's going to take a long time. I do kind of wish that terrain features weren't incompatible with improvements because that's not very realistic. A real copper mine, like let's think of the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. They mine a lot of copper there, and that doesn't involve the complete removal of the jungle first, but in this game it has to be. Code-wise it doesn't, because you can enter the world builder and put a mine onto a jungle hill and the jungle remains there. So I kind of wish the mod didn't... Well, I wish the mod changed the base game's rule where to build an improvement you had to clear the terrain feature first. Because it doesn't really make sense that like a tropical riverbed area like this has to be completely deforested before you can build farms and stuff on it, because that's not how it really is in real life.
The man who is putting on his
But
armor
oh well.
for wars should not
From a
boast
gameplay
of
perspective,
man.
jungles are terrible, and I always want to get rid of them as fast as possible. Let's see, yeah, hang on, let's see what... damn it, I can't. Aesthetics is going to give me the most bonus. Let's do that next. Okay, we got another great engineer. What are the odds? Land tenure. 3,000 for land tenure. That's 30 plus turns of research. Yeah, like I said, we can have a BC Middle Ages. Since we already have one other spare engineer, I might do this. The concern here, and I'll just upgrade my archers, I guess, is that the slave revolts are going to be 6 strength levies if we do that. So, but, and we'll have to switch to serfdom probably. That'll give us better farms, because farms actually get irrigation systems food bonuses too, which slave farms don't. Yeah, and improvements include the paved roads we want to put everywhere, so. Alright. And I guess Anthemius of Tralles gets to be a named engineer, but Hippodamus of Miletus. Well, I guess I clicked through that menu, but I think this guy had a quote, the other one didn't. But yeah, let's do this. 30-something turns of research into a new era tech is kind of a big deal. Okay. These workers, let's send you guys down here. Theater. Yeah, pro tip is you can do 5% culture, and unlike everything else in this game, that actually rounds to 10. So if you can invest in 5% culture, you get the extra 1 happiness for building a theater. In this city's case, it doesn't really matter because its food is poor relative to its happy cap, but just to know for future reference. Let's actually, yeah, go ahead and build some ships now. I'll build 4 for good measure. We'll put a couple here and a couple here. Alright, they're done with that. Let's get this copper mine hooked up as fast as we can. Oh, whoops, I guess we skipped that one. No, I don't want to attack Ethiopia.
Art for art's sake with an empty frame. Art for the
And actually, yeah, with,
that
no, actually, they need every ounce of food they can contribute towards growth that they can. To classical art instead. But yeah, with meditation and real farms, not slave farms and slavery, if you switch to monasticism, for a maintenance boost, which is ironically countered by our newfound religion, you can get another food for every farm, which is a pretty nice deal. I'll consider doing that going forward. I wish I didn't skip this. Oh, I intentionally did, because technically this route is contiguous, it's just graphically not. So moving diagonally should still be the paved road, even though this non-paved part is still graphically part of the same route. But so, effectively, we completed the route from our capital through all of our cities, even through this desert with much slave labor, down to our new conquered Bactrian city. So, it's a little over an hour and a half. I think this is a good place to call it. But we got a lot done. We founded a religion. We repelled another invasion. We got our paved road system up and going. And we are just about to get our really cool yeah, our really cool Greek unique unit. So I'm kind of excited for that, and it's pretty much the exact historical period when that unit shined. In fact, 404 BC was the year the Peloponnesian War ended, when Sparta won against Athens, presumably using, no pun intended with their lambda shield, this exact unit. So that is a rather ironic and fitting way to end this segment, so thank you for watching. This is the Ashard Het, signing off.